Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Nnamdi Odipo. We're live in Abuja and this is the Ballot. Well, now let's get into tonight's main highlights, and that is a conversation with the presidential candidate of Action Alliance, AA, in the 2023 general elections, Dr. Hamza Almustapha. Welcome to the Ballot. Welcome to the Ballot, sir.
Thank you so very much.
It's really good to see you. You're looking very fresh. I should say you're looking much younger than I am. What's the secret, sir?
Faith.
And peace of mind, I should say.
Absolutely. Faith in it carries everything that makes one's heart comfortable. That reassurance of survival.
I envy you. I want to be like you when I grow up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I recall your incursion into full-time partisan politics in 2017.
Right.
That was when you founded the Green Party of Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I also recall that in 2019, you attempted to clinch the presidency under the PPN, that is the People's Party of Nigeria.
Right.
It is, however, striking that in your political journey over time, you clearly have stayed away from the dominant political parties, or are they the ones staying away from you? Is it that your politics does not align with theirs or theirs with yours, or are you biding your time?
The truth here is the project, pardon me, the project is Nigeria. The constituency is Nigeria. So before jumping on board any of the political parties, a serious minded politician should be seen to have done his homework. I'm not moving blindly, irrespective of wherever I'm invited to. So I did my homework, and that is what led me to where I am. I was invited to the bigger parties continuously till this moment. But I believe where I am is the best for Nigeria.
Do you want to perhaps drop some names?
Should Nigerians be successful in getting us onto the throne to provide direction with a just leadership, Nigeria will be better off. That's why I'm where I am.
The throne, I reckon means the presidency in this case.
The opportunity to serve. That's the way I see it.
You know, I strongly believe character should compulsorily be part of issue-based campaign. And I know we've talked about issue-based campaign, and now we're often quick to veer off. And I also believe that character is a quality that we seem to maybe ignore or not investigate extensively as we should as Nigerian voters whenever we're faced with the leadership options, I mean during elections, of course. Where do you stand on questioning the integrity and personal propriety of politicians? And secondly, how do some of your past experiences, I mean talking about your role as Chief Security Officer to late General Sani Abacha, your arrest, your subsequent detention, the legal tussle that I think spans over 15 years already. I mean, how do all of these blend to mold your persona and make you a man of character deserving to lead Nigeria as president?
Well, I initially didn't want to go into that because that is the past.
Oh, this is the big elephant in the room. We need to clear it off.
No, sure. So it's to me a school that you can just get it anywhere. I found myself in that persecutory phases of life. And to me, I have learned what no university can teach me. And I thank God Almighty for the experiences and for me to have been alive. I'm sure you have heard all these stories. So to me, yesterday is gone. Whenever there is the need for me to now pick from the experiences I've had, all I need to do is to turn back and then pick that topic, drop it, and it serves as a guide. Here I am in politics. Now your fundamental question concerning character of candidates. I am an advocate of that. That's why even in my profession, we believe data, personality data profiling of citizens in the country, from youngsters to those playing the active game in managing the country. in public and private sector should be seen to be updated without them knowing. So there are characters who ought to be right from the beginning, be disqualified before primaries. It is what happens in serious-minded politics around the world, because the survival of the country has to do with the character of leadership. And if that were to be played, and that is to assist INEC even before primaries, candidate B, C, D, because of A and B and C in their character, or in their qualification, or in their attitude, qualification including what makes them themselves, the issues of integrity and the rest of it that makes the character. Once it is questioned, the person cannot come to the fore to be. So it is in serious-minded countries, because if the character is wrong, it does not matter the person. It does not matter the resources in his hands. His attitude might plunge the country into a damage control stages that may hamper progress and development, or might affect the national security of that country during his tenure. That's why I said it's a fundamental question. We should throw the first one about me away.
Okay, but I'm often intrigued that, and I've often wondered why we're yet to attain, that level of sophistry where as citizens were able to gauge the character of our political leaders and judge them, of course, among other things, with character. Do you think there would ever be a time, or are we gradually approaching that level of sophistry? I mean, in terms of the citizenship now, citizens, the Nigerian voter, where we could perhaps begin to judge a leader based on character, of course, amongst other things like experience and, capacity and other, perhaps attributes that they may stand to offer?
I think we are coming to that time. We're inching towards it. Qualities of leadership are enormous, depending on the way you see it. In Nigeria today, and looking at the 18 candidates themselves, there were some fundamental questions that ought to have been asked about each candidate. And citizenry are, of course, open to ask them, and that can determine the person. Unfortunately, money in our own environment speaks English, which is a pollution into the real practice of democracy, allowing and giving people the opportunity to be. Poverty is there, so once money is cited, people scramble for it, and many are not yet informed. So we are on the journey towards a certain stage of life where the issue of character will become fundamental. But for now, I think it is being compromised.
You've just thrown up the issue of poverty, so I think we should quickly move along, because so far I have only seen bits and excerpts of your party manifesto for this election. I noticed the part on constitutional reform.
Right.
You did talk about unbundling the primary and secondary functions of policing.
Right.
You talked about totally restructuring the prisons and separating the role of attorney generals and ministers of justice. I did also see the part on respect for human rights, and I'm intrigued by what you said about paying attention to education.
Yes.
However, I am on as to how you plan to drive Nigeria's economy. What creative economic solutions do you prefer that would promote a thriving Nigerian economy and perhaps expand opportunities for all classes of businesses?
First of all, I think the last question, there are about 4 questions in this sentence, and I think you have ended up with the last on the way we intend to drive the economy. We are different from other parties.
Also,
we are realistic. We believe in realism. Here, it does not matter the ideas you have. Looking at Nigeria's economic sector deeply, it shows that outside your creativity in creating wealth for Nigeria from outside and inside, there is no policy that will work. It will just be a tenure of you coming to maintain routines, just as we have seen in the past. There should be something new that is realistic, or that should be seen to be realistic and down to earth for the people. And that is what we believe in, and that's what we're working on. Our investigations actually have taken us back into numerous researches. That's why we can create wealth for Nigeria. And we did a small experiment, and these are 2 types. One is where we can get the bulk of the money that will keep Nigeria going on a speedy path of growth.
Okay.
But then the second is a trial, which is like the mock of wealth creation. There were 5 items that are considered trash in Nigeria. We found the market for it in the international market, and we discovered that.
What are these items?
I will tell you.
You do not want to let the cat out of the bag yet.
No, I want you to allow me to land.
Okay, please go ahead.
It's very critical.
Yes, please.
We discovered out of 4 items, we can create $74 billion monthly. And if we multiply it by 12, we will have $888 billion. So if at the primary step of our own trial, we can create this for Nigeria, then definitely.
And you say this is realistic?
Of course. Of course, there is so much God Almighty has given to this country that we have not paid attention to. Our vision and that of our former leaders and the present leaders and in Nigeria's business class, public and private, their vision became beclouded and then pay attention zeroing on gas and oil. And that is unfortunate. We decided to crisscross and search for informations that are real and vital for Nigeria's growth. We want this country to attain her rightful position in the within Committee of Nations, and that's why we took these pains to get that done.
Is crude perhaps one of the items you're
No, definitely.
Not crude.
Not crude. See, there is what we call domestic dirty oil politics.
Okay.
There is also the international dirty oil politics. This game started in 1977. So it has denied Nigeria from getting the right resources to keep this country afloat properly. That's why oil sector to us and gas, the ones from the south that is being taken, is totally secondary. There are much more that Nigerians are yet to know that we are looking at.
Dr. Almustapha, for want of time,
right.
I would have really pressed you to disclose these items, these economic items that you've just made allusions to, but we were fast losing time. And there are a couple of other issues I would like for you to comment on. Very quickly, I somewhat figure that your plans will be heavily, if not overtly invested in security sector reforms.
You want to hear on that?
Well, with your background in intelligence, I reckon you might have an edge. If you can just quickly run through
I
that,
said
yes.
4. Why I'm afraid of giving so much data is simply because we discovered some certain parties were doing copy and paste on what we suffered for. Let me give you 2.
Yes.
Lithium.
Lithium.
In all the 19 northern states, you have lithium in abundance.
Yes.
The richest man on earth has his investment in lithium. And the world is turning into lithium and what you can do with lithium. Such that in the next 5-10 years, every single aspect of life, every machine, every equipment, from the ones on us in the sea and those going to the space, must fall back to lithium. In Nigeria, you have it in abundance, and we know the states, and we also know quantity.
Okay.
We also have rhodium, part of what Nigeria is being cheated for every day. And the quantity and the prices is in high demand today because of the competition of those in numerous science sectors and their investments. If you look at G5 in Nigeria, the G5 and India need every blessed day of rhodium. In Nigeria, you have it everywhere. So on these two alone, Nigeria will be satisfied.
Okay.
And you can get yourself readjusted for speedy growth.
You know, I brought up the issue of security. I'd like for you to land on that. I actually came across an interview you granted sometime in 2021. I may be able to, I think I have some quotes here from you, where you were asked about the factors responsible for rising insecurity in parts of the country, and your response said, you said in response that many bad things are happening in the country as some few individuals are so powerful to have acquired the means of exploring, refining and exporting the nation's mineral resources. You did go on to allege that these few Nigerians benefiting from the country's mineral resources seem to be unstoppable. I'd like to quote you again, where you said that if you want to stop them, they are ever ready to use all means at their disposal to fight you. They can even do that in collaboration with their local and foreign allies. Are you saying that certain elements here, maybe elites, maybe why we're not winning the war against insurgency?
No, let me go straight to the point.
Yes, please.
You see, in management of insurgency in any country on earth, it has to be with intelligence, that is A, and using it in the defined scientific sequential order for you to achieve results. Some are done separate in a single measure or in phases, and some are done concurrently. We made mistakes in this country, and I know part of our research shows that insurgency started from November 1999 to date, and is still unabated. Unfortunately, it has been expanded. And what informed what started in 1999 is what I talked about lately, and many people got it wrong. I said we have rare earth or rare stones in northeast, and that is exactly what gave birth to the first rebel groups in Nigeria. It was a heavy investment. The ragtag team, you saw, if you look at their quality, and look at what they possess, and you look at their number, when we compare with the equipments they have or they had, with mines alone and the larger portion of the areas that it covered, the entire army doesn't have of your country. One may ask, who is funding that? All against Nigeria. And what is that important thing that will make them billions of dollars to be buried as top guards?
I'm sorry to butt in here, but I'd like to ask you a close-ended question.
Right.
Is it possible to win this war or not? Yes or no?
Yes, it's extremely possible. There were insurgencies all over in the world that has happened. And the mistake we made or we are making is copying other insurgencies. See, in the laboratory of security, there is not, and can never be two identical or identical insurgencies. You're asking vital questions.
Yes, very vital question, but unfortunately,
it seems you're in a hurry.
I'm just looking at the time. Please go ahead. Let me let you land on your thought.
Yeah, sure. So I said there are not two identical insurgencies, but there is a yardstick of measurement. You now bring the yardstick and apply it to your own. That are what you should look for. And in doing so, there is a sequential order of getting this done. And you can even estimate time when you can get that done. In Nigeria, we continue to now have a certain approach because we saw some other countries did it. But what happened in United Kingdom on Northern Ireland issue cannot be applied here. It won't work.
Very
there are
true.
numerous insurgencies all over, but for want of time.
Like we said, for want of time. I'll just allow you at this point to take a few seconds to, breather, so that when we return, we would take you to the last segment of our program for tonight, which of course is ticking the boxes. You will be presented with a couple of targets and made to choose options that either reflect the feasibility or otherwise of achieving these targets within a timeline of 4 years, which of course, again, amounts to the first term of a president in office, 4 years. So, ticking the boxes is up next. Time now for our guests to tick the boxes. A quick reminder that these are mostly public policy issues, and we believe these are issues that the voters want on the ballot for this election. My guest is at liberty to choose any option among the ones provided that best suit his or maybe his party's viewpoints on any of the targets. We begin now with the first item in the box, which is food sufficiency. I'd like for us to just put the box on the screen there. There we go, food sufficiency. I'd like to know, is this a target that is realistic for you within the first 4 years of your administration if elected president of Nigeria? Do you think this is realistic? Do you think this is unrealistic? Are you undecided on the matter?
Food sufficiency for the country.
Within 4 years. Is that the target that you can meet?
It's my target and it's realistic.
Realistic. Yeah. We will take realistic for you there, food sufficiency. And then the second item is downsizing the government. I mean, this has been an issue, over time. Is this something you think you can achieve in the first 4 years of your administration? Is it realistic? Is it unrealistic? Are you undecided on the matter?
No, as far as I'm concerned, it's realistic.
And there we go, another realistic. Third on the item is education as #1 budget priority. Is this something you can do within 4 years? Is it unrealistic? Are you undecided on the matter?
It's unrealistic because of the damage done. Because we have our package, and our package is totally
unrealistic. Unrealistic.
Right.
And then we'll go to the last one, uninterrupted power supply. Is this something you think you can achieve in the first 4 years of your administration? Is it realistic? Is it unrealistic? Are you undecided on the matter?
No, we have decided, but ours is revolutionary-like, scientifically done.
So you're undecided on the matter?
We have decided we can.
You can. That
Yes,
is
we can.
realistic
It's
for our
realistic.
guests.
Yeah,
and so
definitely.
that is it. I'd like to thank you so much for tonight. Presidential candidate of Action Alliance in this year's election, Dr. Hamza Almustapha. On behalf of the NTA, I'd like to wish you the very best in your current campaigns for the presidency. Thank you so much for coming on the ballot.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well,
it's unfortunate you have too short a period.
Yes,
There
I
are
promise you we
vital
will
things to
look
come
for
up.
another time and bring you back on the
Looking
ballot.
forward.
Well, that's
Thank
it. It is officially 19 days until the presidential elections.
Right.
The clock is ticking and the excitement is building. Join us same time tomorrow for another night and episode of the program. My name is Nnamdi Odipo. Bye for now.